Yeah? Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you for your condolences all the same. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Love you. Bye-bye. So my dad did a thing. It's been many years since I left school, and I gotta keep it honest with you, not much really stuck in my brain from that time. I remember hanging out with my friends, and I remember going out drinking, and that's pretty much it. The rest of it's kind of a weird blur. But there's one distinct memory that always latches into the back of my brain whenever I remember my time then. And that specific memory is a smell. And that specific smell always emanated from two specific types of kids. One being the horse girls, and the more stinkier of the pair being the wolf kids. If you're fortunate enough to have never experienced this breed of human in your life, well, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. They were kids who were obsessed with wolves and wolves' lifestyle. Was it weird? Yes. Was it illegal? Unfortunately not. I'm only kidding around, they were pretty much harmless. That was until that summer came. That horrible summer. After a long Cape Tonian winter, the sun would eventually shine down on God's favorite part of South Africa, creating one of the hottest summers I've ever experienced in my life. Now, it just so happens at that same time a certain piece of clothing was developed for wolf kids. That combination between a thick polyester jumper, long greasy black hair, disgusting Vans that never get baby powder put into them, created a vile concoction that can only be described as weaponized tear gas, with that weaponized tear gas being deployed by via 100 kids in Bayside Mall. I know this is slightly off topic, but the footage you are seeing is my old stomping grounds, and it's really fucking me up. I haven't been home in like 5-6 years now, and nothing about this place has changed. So grateful I did this video. Seeing that footage isn't gonna make me think about death later on in bed at all. Anyhow, even as a kid, I always kind of assumed that wolf jacket was made by a big corporation, seeking to capitalize on weird kids with bad bathing habits, and weird kids who liked going to the beach, and weird kids who liked underwear. This design was pretty much on everything, is what I'm trying to get at. But to my shock and downright audible confusion, I mean, really, look at this clip when I found out about it. The Galaxy Wolf was made by one guy. Dude, no way. This wasn't some design from some corporate grunt who was trying to make end meet on his product line. An individual artist crafted this piece. And that individual artist recently went on TikTok to share the story of how he got justice for that piece. Because this artist had his art stolen. Jojo Shot, or Jojo's Art, depending on how you'd like to pronounce it, is the main man and the creator behind the Galaxy Wolf concept art. He's a Berlin-based fantasy artist who's been around for God knows how many years, and has made hundreds and hundreds of, pieces. I'm gonna shoot straight like an arrow, they're god ugly in my opinion, but I'm not exactly a 14-year-old girl who's really into colors and animals, who I can only assume is his target audience, just like they are mine, except my audience of them is from a legally required distance. When Jojo Shot was a bright-eyed, plucky, newly 20-year-old kid, he, like any other given artist on the internet, used to upload his pieces to Instagram, WhatsApp, Pinterest, and this is just an assumption of mine, more than likely Tumblr before it got shut down. But unlike other artists, or rather more uncommonly, for some reason Jojo Shot's art pieces got picked up by fast fashion brands. Fast fashion, for those of you who are unaware, is a company like Shein, where they have the resources to mass produce certain products as quickly as humanly possible, and for as cheaply as humanly possible. The logic behind it is quite simple actually. Why spend months on an expensive brand exposure release involving hundreds of celebrities and countless man hours to design one jacket, when instead you could rip artists' designs off the internet and just slap them on your clothes, then sell such a big variety of said clothes that eventually one of them's gotta stick. In this case, Jojo Shot's Galaxy Wolf. Now kiddies, I gotta explain something to you. I may be 19 and a half, but I'm also very old. And let me tell you with absolute certainty in my voice, this Galaxy Wolf design was everywhere. It's not an exaggeration when I say I saw my friends have it as their wallpaper. I saw my friends' little sisters having a poster of it on their wall. Even my friend's cringy mom would have it on their coffee mug and walk around with it while they smoked 10 packs of cigs. I probably saw this art design more times than I saw my dad as a kid. And for those of you who don't know, that's quite a fair amount because my dad was over there fighting in Iraq. Not for any country, he worked on the oil rigs, but still his service is valid. Just don't ask me what my dad was doing during the apartheid years in Cape Town. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, because this design was so massively popular and so spread everywhere, it obviously brought in an absolute crapload of money, to which the original artist was seeing absolutely none. Now, I know I've said that it is is a terrible design and it is horrible to look at. I would be pretty annoyed if someone took, say, this piece of video that I made, turned it into a viral meme, and made millions off my back without me seeing a damn cent, which is how Mr. Short felt. And he made the very brave decision to not go quietly into the night. He was going to fight back against the art thieves. Unfortunately, his first go at them didn't go too well. Another interesting thing about fast fashion companies is a lot of the time they're set up in shell corporations. So let's say, for example, you have a sweetie and I steal your sweetie and I start selling that sweetie. Well, it'd be very dumb of me to steal your sweetie and then sell that sweetie under my actual real business name. It would also be even stupider to leave my real contact information if I was going to commit theft anyway. So what is a thief meant to do? Well, you create hollow businesses, of course. Basically, if Mr. Shark contacted one of these companies in order to get the piece removed, he was playing a game of whack-a-mole. And if you hit one, 10 more pop up in its place. For an individual guy with only the resources of, well, himself, it's pretty much an impossible task to complete. And as a result, Joe eventually lost his will to fight. Because why be involved in a battle if you have no chance of winning anyway? And through speculation, I can only assume left him with a couple of mental scars. I mean, I would personally be rather upset if my design was being stolen and there was literally nothing I could do about it. Thankfully, this story does get a bit of a happy ending, because 2 years ago, in the year 2021, Joe decided to partner up with an actual law firm in hopes of finding more success in taking down some of these art thieves and seeing some real bang for his work buck. It's not quite the millions and millions that these companies have made off him, but he was lucky to recover some of the funds and buy himself quite a posh little apartment. As much as I dislike Mr. Short for creating the art piece vehicle that would eventually assault my nose with its tangy odor, I can't help but smile over the fact that he did manage to win back some of, this money that is rightfully his. At the end of the day, whether or not you agree that it's good, bad, or mediocre art, the artist should still gain financially regardless, especially if a separate entity is taking that product and selling it on their behalf, or not even on their behalf in this case. Now, as much as I would like to sing Kumbaya and walk headfirst into a campfire, because god, that would be such a relief at this point, in the process of making this video, something dawned on me. This level of art theft happened to Joe like 10 years ago, when the internet was just starting to take its infant baby steps. Now with the rise of AI, language models, and just people in general being able to lift whatever they feel like lifting, I foresee the problem just getting way, way, way worse. Especially now considering that literally any bleach rag can get on a computer and have any art design at their fingertips through a couple of text prompts. Those text prompts, by the way, which source artists online without their consent. So then the even greater question that arises from this topic of conversation is, what next? It was like pulling gorilla teeth for Joe to get compensation for his art being used by other people, and those guys were just copy pasting the images. What kind of legal claim is somebody gonna have if their art style is being used as opposed to their actual art? And can a person even own an art style? I mean, if I wanted, and this is a pure example because I would never want to mimic, say, Mr. Short's art style, what's to stop me from typing in his art style along with whatever image I want, plopping them into some magic internet machine and getting out whatever I felt like, then passing it off as my own design and my own original style, potentially even selling it to make millions? The answer is literally nothing to not a lot. I mean, yeah, right now it's very easy to tell what's AI generated, even to a layman like me. But technology is only going to get better, my friends, and you artists are, I'm sorry to say, going to be out of the job. As much as we'd all like to live in a fantasy land where you're irreplaceable, that is just not a realistic approach to take. Sure, it's not ethical for people to cut you out of the conversation entirely and just not pay you and take away your livelihood, but it's also not ethical for us to develop self-driving cars to get rid of, say, Uber. Or rather, that was the original purpose of Uber, to keep human drivers until they can develop self-driving cars so they don't have to pay anyone. Or is it ethical for Amazon, say, to build a sophisticated packaging network of robots that zoom past? And is it ethical for truck drivers to be completely put out of their job because computers can do it with no brakes? The answer to every one of those questions is a hard no, but it hasn't stopped us yet. And when the technology does get good enough that we can't tell the difference between man-made and computer art, and believe me, it's a when, not an if, do you really think, for example, Disney's gonna dig into their pockets and pay artists when they simply don't have to? I mean, then simply, you're deluded. Even if we look on the smaller scale, some YouTubers are already using AI-generated thumbnail art to, well, make their thumbnails. It's a sign of things to come. Now, I do hear you artists lifting up your weak, limped wrist from years of pressing against some tablet, saying, we're unreplaceable, nobody can ever imitate art, the people will rise up and they'll stop it. You are right, to a degree. You artists are irreplaceable. But that doesn't matter when it comes to products. If there's one thing I've learned from observing people over the years when it comes to controversies on the internet, which is my specialty, as you can tell, People's need for entertainment completely outweighs their ethics every single time. There'll be a couple murmurs, a couple moans the first few times it happens, but sooner or later those big bubble-gutted cargo short-wearing pants Marvel fans are gonna get bored with you complaining down their ear. And even though they're publicly supporting you on the face value, they'll be underneath the covers watching She-Hulk Season 5. You don't have to agree with me. That's fine. It's okay to be wrong. The only thing that I'm aware that's not okay to be is to not be a Dino subscriber. I mean, you made it this far. I do hope for you artists' sake something does come your way and there's some kind of, I don't know, blockchain method of protecting your individual art. But my point being is you better develop it very quickly because you will be left in the dust whether you like it or not. Either that or get your high-ves on, lad. It's time to be a tradie. In closing, I'd like to echo the words of Pastor Niemoller. First, they came for the truck drivers, and I said nothing. Then they came for the Amazon workers, and again, I said nothing. Finally, they came for the highly 3D rendered furry art, and I said nothing because I was busy running away with whatever I could get. That's all from me, guys. Bye-bye.